New reporting provided exclusively to CNN from the forthcoming book by New York Times reporter Maggie Haberman with revelations on former President Trump's final days in the White House. CNN correspondent Kristen Holmes has all of the new details, and there are some bombshells here, Kristen.
There are. Now, according to Maggie's reporting, in those final days, Trump insisted he would not be leaving the White House. Now, this left aides confused and uncertain as to what he would do next. New revelations on the final days of former President Donald Trump's presidency. In reporting provided to CNN from a forthcoming book by New York Times reporter Maggie Haberman, Trump repeatedly told aides following his election loss that he would refuse to leave the White House.
This is a fraud on the American public. This is an embarrassment to our country. We were getting ready to win this election. Frankly, we did win this election.
Haberman's book, Confidence Man, The Making of Donald Trump and the Breaking of America, reports that Trump told one aide, quote, "I'm just not going to leave," and saying to another, quote, "We're never leaving. How can you leave when you won an election?" Trump's insistence that he would not leave the White House has never been previously reported and shines a new light on the chaotic final days of his administration. Haberman writes of a shift in Trump's private comments on the election loss. In the immediate aftermath of the 2020 presidential election, Trump seemed to recognize the loss. He comforted one advisor saying, "We did our best," and told junior press aides, "I thought we had it," seemingly almost embarrassed by the outcome.
If the Electoral College does elect President-elect Joe Biden, are you not going to leave this building?
Just so you, certainly I will. Certainly I will. And you know that. But I think that there will be a lot of things happening between now and the 20th of January. A lot of things.
But at some point, Trump's mood shifted, and he was heard saying he would not leave. He was even overheard asking Republican National Committee Chair Ronna McDaniel, "Why should I leave if they stole it from me?"
Make no mistake, this election was stolen from you, from me, and from the country. It was a rigged election. You look at the different states, the election was totally rigged.
Haberman, who is also a CNN contributor, reports Trump quizzed nearly everyone around him on how to stay in power. Among those he reportedly asked, the valet who brought him Diet Coke when Trump pressed a red button on his Oval Office desk. She says Trump's son-in-law and advisor Jared Kushner was reluctant to confront him over the election loss. Kushner encouraged a group of aides to go to the White House and brief Trump. When asked why he wasn't attending the briefing, he likened it to a deathbed scene, saying the priest comes later. And Brianna, this comes as the House Select Committee that is investigating January 6th is planning more hearings in the fall, as well as that final report. And as federal investigators issued a number of subpoenas to former and current Trump aides in recent days and even recent weeks. The other interesting twist here is that we learned last night that former President Trump landed at an airport outside of D.C. Now, we're told that he's going to his golf club in Sterling, Virginia, but it's notable because it's only the second time he's visited the D.C. area since he left office, so something we're keeping a close eye on.
All right, Kristen Holmes, thank you so much for sharing those headlines with us. You know, Berman, it's very interesting. Well, there are a number of things that are interesting, but it's also just so interesting that initially he seemed to understand that he had lost the election. Eventually, that obviously shifted, but that's something that could be of interest, certainly to investigators.
Right. And when it did shift, if he was telling people, "I'm not going to leave," as a legal matter, I think what's at play here is what these people then did with that. How did they interpret it, and what did they then do? This is another data point as the January 6th committee amps up its hearings again this month. You might hear more about this now that Maggie has this reporting coming out. It'll be very interesting to see what happens next.